Hi, this is Dr. Don, and I have for you a problem from McClave, Chapter 6 on confidence intervals. I'm telling you it is from Chapter 6, and that is a clue you will not have on quizzes and exams. So let's take a closer look and try to find keywords and phrases in the problem. Of course, confidence intervals should jump out, and the question is to find out how large the sample was, our n, our sample size. You should notice the interval is for proportion p, and that we are given not the point estimate itself, but the interval, the lower limit 0.36, the upper limit 0.64. Okay, so how do we find the sample size using StatCrunch instead of those awful formulas? Let's open up StatCrunch and find out. Okay, here's StatCrunch. When I'm in doubt, I always go to Stat. That seems to be the safest place, the most likely place to find my answers. I click on Stat and the drop-down menu appears, and lo and behold, there is proportion stats. I hover over that and I've got a choice of one sample or two sample. This question is about one sample. We have one confidence interval. It's not the difference in proportions. It's one proportion, a point estimate. So I go back to proportion stats, one sample, and then I've got a choice of with data, with summary, power, /sample size, with /sample size. Well, we know we're not dealing with data or with summary of a data. We just have a confidence interval. We want to find the sample size, so it's got to be one of these two. And since we're given the width of the interval, I'm guessing that it's going to be that one. So I open up that dialog box and I'm going to ignore the standard wall and just look at it's the confidence interval for proportion. That's what I want. I look down at the bottom here and I've got two boxes. One says required parameters, and they want the confidence level and the target proportion. The other box says enter one, either enter the width and get sample size, or enter the sample size and get the width. And since we have the width, I'm guessing that's what I need to put in there. Confidence level, we were told that we had to have a 95% confidence level, but we don't know the target proportion, P. So we need to get that. Let's bring up the Windows calculator to do this basic math. Okay, we need the width, and we can get that by just subtracting, I'm going to click it in here, 0.64, that's the upper limit, minus the lower limit of 0.36 equal, that gives me a width, which I need to remember, of 0.28. Now I need to get the P. And if you remember, the interval has the standard form for all confidence intervals. It's the point estimate plus or minus the margin of error. And if you remember, the margin of error is half of the width, which makes sense. In this case, we need to find P, which is in between 0.36 and 0.64. Logically, since we're adding a number, the margin of error, and subtracting that same value, P's got to be right in the middle. So first of all, let's find out what the margin of error is. And I think I just click divide 2. And so that's my margin of error, 0.14. Now if I want to add that to the lower limit, 0.36 equal, that gives me a P of 0.5. So my P that I need for StatCrunch is 0.5 and my width is 0.28. So let's bring Stat. Now the dialog defaulted to 0.5, and that is our target proportion, so we'll just leave it 0.5. But we need to put the width in there, 0.28. Many times when I'm doing this, since we normally calculate the margin of error, I will put the margin of error in there. Of course, that will give you the wrong value. width is twice the margin of error. So let's click compute, and we get a sample size of 49 for n, and let's see, yes, that's the value that they want. So I hope this helped. Good luck.